You know, you think you have privacy when you step into a store's fitting room to change, but that may not always be the case, at least at one national chain. Tonight, in a hidden camera story from our 10 News investigators, reporter Noah Pransky shows us how the lack of privacy is intentional and widespread. Noah?
The dressing room doors at Macy's are designed with these privacy blinds that when you hold them up, you're only allowed to see one way in. The problem is at Macy's, when they're installed backward, looking into the dressing room, you can see just about everything. It's one of your most vulnerable moments, undressing at the mall to try on new clothes. But your eyes aren't the only ones watching.
Not only loss prevention personnel, but other customers. You could see somebody naked.
In Florida, you can't have video cameras in fitting rooms, but post one of these little signs like at Macy's, and you can have doors that leave little to imagination.
I've never seen anything like it, and any other retailer I've worked for wouldn't have allowed it.
We're hiding the identity of a whistleblower to protect his nearly 20-year career in loss management. But after he started the job at Macy's earlier this year, he says his jaw hit the floor the very first day. Our cameras confirm that doors were hung backward in fitting rooms, so the privacy blinds prevent you from seeing out and allow anyone to see in. There's not even an indication that certain fitting rooms are for men or women only.
How easy is it for someone to come into Macy's and see something they shouldn't?
You could walk just about anywhere in the store and walk into a fitting room and nobody would stop you.
He adds that despite Macy's policy to encourage employees to bring problems to corporate's attention, he was fired several weeks after filing a report detailing his department's racial profiling, illegal wiretapping, falsified shoplifting reports, and of course the fitting rooms.
The email told me that it was my duty to report anything that I thought was law-breaking or ethically wrong. And that I wouldn't be retaliated against for it.
The whistleblower's report was filed here in the Bradenton store, but the dressing room issue reflects a company-wide policy that affects stores across the country. That includes many here in Tampa Bay. We found backwards blinds in Bradenton, St. Petersburg, West Shore Plaza, and Citrus Park, as well as stores in Central and Southwest Florida. Macy's acknowledged the loss prevention tactic, stating, "Retailers work hard to strike a balance between preserving the privacy of customers and deterring the theft of merchandise." Florida state statute says it's unlawful for any merchant to directly observe customers in the merchant's dressing room when such room provides a reasonable expectation of privacy. However, a merchant may directly observe a customer from outside such room, which means Macy's is following the law.
Legal, but
is it moral? You know, is it right for anybody to be able to see you when you expect privacy?
Macy's wouldn't comment on the whistleblower's report, but they tell us that they're continually reviewing their policies and procedures that best serve their customers. Live in St. Petersburg tonight, Noah Pransky, 10 News.
Now to a 10 News investigation that we first told you about last night. We showed you undercover video of the Macy's dressing rooms with the doors on backwards so they become see-through.
Now, we heard from a lot of parents and many others on our Facebook page who are really upset about this policy. And they want to know if other department stores also use these see-through doors for security. One of our 10 News investigators, Noah Pransky, finds out whether Macy's is the only store with the questionable fitting rooms.
Macy's says their backward blinds allowing people to see into your fitting room are all about loss management. But you flooded our Facebook page with comments. You even compared the chain to a crooked politician. The story resonated across the Twitterverse. It even landed on the front page of the Drudge Report. And even though we can't return every call, we did listen to all of your voicemails.
I have shopped Macy's for years. I have allowed my small children, my friends' children to go into dressing rooms. It absolutely is disgusting.
But somehow, Macy's competition manages to fight shoplifting without compromising your fitting room privacy. We took our hidden cameras again to the dressing rooms of more than a dozen national chains. And almost every single fitting room we saw provided ample privacy for you to try on clothes. JCPenney's had solid doors you couldn't see through. At Marshall's, the doors locked. And Target controls loss management with tags that make sure you leave the fitting room with the same number of items you entered with. The winner in the privacy search was American Eagle, with automatic locking doors and ceiling-to-floor protection. But we did find one dressing room at Loft in the Brandon Mall with the privacy blinds installed backward. It's the same compromising issue that Macy's has, but since it's an all-women's store, it is less likely someone from the opposite sex would be able to peep on you.
And that was our Noah Pransky reporting.
A 10 News investigation that got angry reaction from you, the viewer, is now getting some action too.
You know, this all started last week when we first told you about the fitting rooms at Macy's, where the privacy blinds were installed backwards so that from the outside you could actually watch someone changing on the inside. As 10 News investigator Noah Pransky tells us, at least one store is stepping up to fix it.
We went to more than a dozen department stores last week, and Macy's was the only one we saw to compromise your privacy as a matter of policy. But during a spot check at the women's clothing store Loft by Ann Taylor, we did find some dressing rooms with the blinds installed backward. In these cases, at the Brandon and West Shore malls, you could walk right up to the fitting room doors and look right in. After our story aired Friday, the company told us they did a survey across our area and found 10 places like this, but it was absolutely not intentional. They tell us we put our clients first and place a premium on their experience in our stores. The blinds in question were improperly installed, and our construction teams put a schedule in place to properly install the blinds in impacted stores within the next few months. Macy's, meanwhile, which acknowledged the backward blinds were part of its loss prevention strategy, tells us the company constantly reviews its policies, but there's no change to the report at this time. We'd like to hear what you think. Go to WTSP.com or our Facebook page and sound off. In the studio, Noah Pransky, 10 News.
Another new development in a 10 News investigators report. You know, many of you have been talking about this on our website and Facebook pages.
After revealing that fitting rooms at Macy's department stores were revealing a little too much of you, now 10 News investigator Noah Pransky has found another national chain that is also appearing to be compromising your privacy.
When we went to Macy's, we found the privacy blinds on fitting room doors inverted so you could see the person changing inside. The chain acknowledged it was part of their loss prevention strategy. But that's more than we got from Saks Fifth Avenue, which essentially told us no comment when we found their privacy problems in their fitting rooms as well. Just like in Macy's, our undercover cameras at Saks saw the slats of fitting room doors pointed inward. So when you think you're getting privacy inside, someone could be watching you from the outside. We didn't just find them at one store we went to, but several Saks all around Florida. The chain didn't bother defending the tactic. They simply told us it's against our policy to discuss our loss prevention policies. We also spoke today to the National Retail Federation, which also said it had no official stance on the issue, but they said they would start looking into it now. We'll continue to bring you the latest on this as it develops. In the studio, Noah Pransky, 10 News.
Good evening, I'm Heather Venice.
And I'm Reginald Roundtree. Thank you for joining us. We begin with a story that affects anyone who worries about their privacy at local malls.
After a 10 News investigation uncovered revealing dressing rooms at Macy's, the retail giant is shifting its corporate policy on customer privacy. 10 News investigator Noah Pransky shows you the changes.
They were the privacy blinds that didn't offer very much privacy. Dressing room doors installed backward at Macy's so loss prevention personnel can see right in, along with anyone else who wanted to as well. You filled our Facebook page with, "I'm shocked. That's not right. I'm boycotting Macy's." And it seems the retail giant heard those voices too. A month after saying they have to balance customer privacy with loss prevention, Macy's tells us they're reversing policy and their doors. A spokesman says, "We currently are implementing changes to some fitting room doors so they are consistent across the country. At the end of this process, all fitting room doors will have outward-facing slats that limit the visibility into the fitting room from anyone standing outside." Welcome news to the whistleblower who was fired a month ago after reporting the policy problem to corporate.
So I'm glad to see that Macy's agrees with me and the consensus of the general public and is changing the doors. I think it's going to go a long way in preventing peeping Tom type crimes that have happened in these fitting rooms across the country.
Macy's adds that so many of their stores have revealing dressing rooms, partly because so many of their stores weren't Macy's when they first opened.
In Tampa Bay, a number of the most popular stores were originally built as Moss Brothers. They evolved into Burdines before becoming Macy's in 2005. The company wouldn't share its timetable on the retrofitting, and a spot check around the Tampa Bay area didn't find any fixed. But the doors at the Fort Myers store had recently been reversed. The whistleblower, who still didn't want to show his face because he's looking for loss prevention work, says he's now pleased, but Macy's should have made the change months ago when he first made a big deal about it.
I can sleep well at night knowing that my integrity is intact. I may not have a job, but I have my integrity. So vindication, it's bittersweet.
Noah Pransky, 10 News.
Now, the other national chain that we found to have revealing fitting rooms, Saks Fifth Avenue, still has not made any public changes. Once again, they declined to comment. We exposed the fitting room problems that were leaving you overexposed. You remember this story in July? The 10 News investigators, they used hidden cameras to show how some Macy's stores were compromising your privacy in the fitting rooms. Tonight, we have a follow-up. 3 months later, our Noah Pransky's back to see if the national chain kept its word to fix the problem.
Our investigation wasn't just limited to stores in Tampa Bay. We found compromised privacy in Macy's fitting rooms all over the country. The corporation had little to say at first, but after we made national headlines, they announced they'd have the problem fixed in all 50 states by the end of October.
Our hidden cameras found that privacy blinds, traditionally blocking outsiders from seeing into your fitting room, were reversed, so employees could monitor you changing. Of course, so could anyone else. But 3 months later, the nation's second-largest department store has responded to the public outcry and retrofitted hundreds, maybe even thousands of fitting rooms, including every one that we checked out this week. Doors that previously compromised your privacy had all been replaced. And Macy's isn't alone. This summer, we discovered backward blinds at Lofton and Taylor stores, too. Their parent company then at the time said it was a mistake, and now we found out that they, too, have fixed their doors since our original report.
In Florida, observing fitting rooms isn't illegal, but for customers who had no idea they were being watched in Macy's stores, the changes are most certainly welcomed. In the studio, Noah Pransky, 10 News.
And if you have tips for the investigators, you can send them an email at tips@WTSP.com or call us at 727-577-TIPS.